Alright, welcome back to the neural feed, and we want to quickly move on to the next step. And in this part, we want to make sure that we can set up our dark theme. We can toggle between dark mode and light mode, basically. So let us not waste too much time and get to it. So the first thing is when we go into our .cn docs right here, we can scroll up. Let me scroll on this side. We can click on this dark mode right here, and then we click on NextJS. We can come here, copy this command because it says we should install next themes right here. And then right after that, we just open up the project right here, and we can just paste that and then hit enter, and that should install next theme for us right here. So as next themes is being installed right here, what we are going to do is we're going to go back, and you see it says that we should create a theme provider, right? And it says we should create it inside the components, right? But we are going to create it inside a providers folder inside the component. So I've already created a providers folder for us. So what we are going to do is I'll just go inside this project. We'll go into the components. You can see this is the providers folder that we have inside the components, and then inside we can just paste the name that we copied on the page right there. So you make sure it's theme-provider.tsx, just like this, and then we are going to hit enter to create that. So the next thing we'll do is we'll just go back and then copy the code that we have inside here. Let us go into the project and let us paste that code as fast as possible, and then we have this part all set up. Let us go to the next step inside the documentation. That is, we are going to scroll down, and then it says we should wrap the theme provider inside around the children, right? So what we'll do is I'll just copy this part right here, and yeah, take note of this suppress hydration warning right here. We would set this inside the HTML tag as like an attribute or a prop or something, and then we just pass this one to in. So let me go back into the project. So we'll just go into the app folder right here, go to layouts. Yeah, so inside here we just come into the HTML, and then we say suppress hydration warning right here, just like that. Then around this children right here, we can just paste that nice and clean. So we now have to import the theme provider from what you created inside the providers slash theme theme provider.tsx right here, nice and clean. Now that we have these bad boys on, we'll just remove that, and then we put the enable system to false, just like this, and then we set the default theme to dark, just like this. And the next thing is we want to set the storage key to what, to Discord theme, just like that, nice and clean. All right, so now that we have been able to work on this, actually the storage theme right here is the name that is given to it inside the local storage, just to store the current just to store the current theme, the current mode, right? Whether dark theme or light theme, we want to store it inside the system so that we don't have to keep switching up every time we refresh the page, nice and clean. Now that we understand this, let us go back into the docs and see our next step. Now the next step is we want to add the toggle button, just like this, you see it. So now that we know that this toggle button is going to work like how we want it, we are going to click on the code right here, and then we would copy the code that we have inside here. Let us quickly go back into the project here, and inside the components folder right here, over here, you can see. So I'll just create a new file, and then I would say mode toggle, just like this. So mode dash toggle, just like this, .tsx, just like that. Then inside I'll just paste this inside. Now you realize that we are going to be having a few errors, and that is because of the drop down menu that is missing from our project right here. Right, so inside UI there's no drop down menu. But how do we get this inside our project? Now you remember I did talk about the use of the terminal or the CLI to make these additions, because they are much more safer, because of the component.json. So let's just do that. So you can see this is the drop down menu. What we have to do is you have to copy this command right here, and then we go back inside the project like this, and then we will paste that command and hit enter. Nice and clean. And then that is going to install, or that is going to add our drop down menu to our project automatically, and then we would get rid of the errors. Nice and clean. So you can see that when we go back into the documentation and you scroll up into the dark mode section that we were in previously, which is this one. Okay, it looks like it's okay. Select next year. Yeah, so when we go, you can see that this is the last step for it, right? So if we go into our project and I refresh, you would see that because we set the default mode to be dark, you realize that the screen has turned dark just like this. All right, so how do we switch between the modes after we have added our drop down menu and have created our mode toggle component? What we are going to do is let's quickly go into the project just like this. Okay, this looks like it has not been installed still. Let me quickly end it and then start it again. All right, so that should work for us. And so let's quickly go into the app right here, and we'll go into the page.tsx, and then inside here what we are going to do is we are going to add the mode toggle just like that. All right, nice and clean. So inside here, when we refresh, we should see that the mode toggle would appear right here. All right, it's saying it's okay. It says so that means that the drop down menu has still not been installed. Let us go back and check on that. All right, so this is it. Okay, it says false. Let us do that. All right, so once it has been installed, we should be able to see the new changes and then toggle between the modes right there. All right, so whilst it's being installed, let us quickly go and work on the color of our dark mode inside the layout.tsx, right? So you realize that once we set the default theme to be dark over here, you realize that it was totally black, but we do not want that color just like that, right? We are building a Discord clone, so everything needs to match the Discord pixel. So what we need to do is you need to wrap this font.class name around a bracket, and then we open up the cn just like this. And the next thing we're going to do is you need to import the cn from the lib/utils just like that. And you can see if we scroll up just like this, you can see it appear right around here. And then right after that, we just bring the comma, then we set the new style. We say that when it's normal it should be what bg white, but when we are in the dark mode we want to set it to what bg, and we would pass in this custom style right here, which is what 31338, just like this, and then we are good to go. So if we go back into the project right here, okay, so you can see that as we go back into the project right here, our background has been changed according to the color that we set looking at our Discord clone, right? And then over here we can just change the mode to light or dark or system, but I mean at the end of the day, I think most of the time the system is light mode, right? So unless you set the system to be a different one, then we have light and then we have dark. So we are going to be using dark almost throughout the project because that's how Discord was built. So that is basically it for this part, trying to set up a light theme or dark theme, right? Thank you very much for getting to this part, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.